Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, spawning in the top right hand corner, playing as the Blue Terran for Team Edification Empire, we have Ceonsamea. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner as the Red Terran, currently teamless and needs to win 2 games in order to win this series, we have Drumz. And as I said, Drumz does need to win 2 games to win this series, whereas Ceon already 1 game up in a good position. This is a big map though. This lends itself a lot to medevac drops, lends itself a lot to tank walls basically. This could be quite a long game. And this could be very interesting indeed. So it's going to be I'm really curious to see how this goes. Drumz, as I did say last game, he did lose, but he put up a very good fight. He played well. Did lose a few too many units, though, when it came to the drops. Wasn't able to do as much damage due to the really good defense by Ceonsamea. So very impressive by Ceonsamea, but Drumz proved he can play really well. Proved he could keep in the game when he'd lost so much. And did very well in the base race. Was able to scatter his buildings around, but the thing is he wasn't able to keep his production up. So wasn't able to really keep up on that, and lost all of his tanks, which were the majority of the damage. So once again, well played by Ceon, but Drumz can definitely bring this back. Both players at the moment just starting with normal racks openings with nothing out of the ordinary at the moment. So we will see if either player goes for any kind of differentiation in their strategy, or whether they're going to keep it the same as mirror matches have the tendency to do, hence the name. And there we go, Ceon starting his orbital command a little bit ahead. We can see that he obviously started his barracks a bit ahead as well. Drumz starting his, and hasn't even started his second supply depot yet. So that's a bit interesting. He's just continuing to build Marines instead and hasn't supply depot. There we go, that would be why. Throwing down his expansion before the second supply depot. Very nice there by Drumz. And Ceon, supply depot finishing, so it will not be surprising to see him either throw down another barracks or save up for that expansion himself. It looks like that's the one he's going to do. There it goes, throwing down the expansion. So both players going for the early expansion. Drumz, on the other hand, once again going double gas, so it's likely he will be going, if not for mech in general, just going for those early tanks or early upgrades, as he also got that early expansion, which you can do on this kind of big map. You have a long area for your opponent to run across in order to get to you. And we are seeing a single Marine versus SCV here, and Ceon does get in, sees the expansion. He's on almost no health right now. SCV does get into the main base, and Drumz does kill it off though before it saw too much in the main base. So not a huge amount of scouting, so was able to block off, showing that he had 2 gas. So very well played there by Drumz, and there goes the factory. So really nice play here. Drumz keeping his opponent in the dark, and needs to keep doing so. In the meantime, though, Ceon easily able to stop the scout of Drumz with his little marine wall at the front of his expansion. So he is also keeping everything under wraps at the moment. Both players' expansions are about to finish up. Drumz has already finished up. Ceon's just about to, and he's also building a third command center, which Drumz has scouted. So Drumz does know exactly what's going on here, and is throwing down a bunker for some reason. You see, his opponent has a third expansion and has decided to throw down a bunker for extra protection, which is a bit interesting in my opinion. We will have to see how that goes for him. Ceon throwing down a tech lab on his little barracks, so he's going to be able to start on that stim research and continue going into combat shield and just basically making his Marines better. So it's likely that Ceon will be going for that bio style that he has been doing in the last game, and will be throwing in tanks basically as and when he needs them. Whereas Drumz, once again, also going for pretty much the same strategy as last time. He's already starting to produce Hellions, and already has a starport on the way, so he's going to be able to start with those drops, which this map does lend itself to. There's a lot of open airspace around all of the bases, very easy to get into. But Ceon is about to finish up his third command center, so I'm very curious to see where he's going to land it, whether he's going to use it just to saturate his bases all the quicker, or whether he's going to use it to just start on a really early third base, which once again, this map does lend itself to really risky, greedy strategies because it is so much larger, which means it's much harder for your opponent to get reinforcing units across the map in order to kill you off. Ceon has a very nice marine wall here, going to be able to keep himself alive, stop any units charging in. And it's also going to be very hard for Hellions to get good shots off on this unless they attack basically side on, which would leave them incredibly vulnerable to that marine, to taking damage from every marine on that wall. And Drumz has started cloaked Banshees. That's very interesting. But Ceon already building missile turrets in the same two bases again, playing it ultra safe. Ceon being prepared for everything at the moment. This is very nice. And yes, as someone did mention in the as you mentioned in the chat, in fact, we are seeing Ceon, who is a master. Drumz is a Diamond X master, but hasn't played for a while, so he has dropped off a little, but proving he can put up a big fight here. First Banshee about to finish up, beginning work on another factory as well, and the armory on the way, so we're definitely seeing Drumz go for a similar strategy to last time, but the fact that he has already built, he is building Banshees this time, adds a little to it, so he's going for a bit of a more sneaky strategy, whereas Ceon is about to finish his starport, which he's going to be using for medevacs, with the reactor on the factory just about to finish, so he will be able to swap over very soon. And Drumz deciding not to go for the drops this time. He has the Hellions in the middle of the map, giving him map control, and not using them for drop. Banshee heading its way in. I'm not sure what Drumz is lolling about. It must have been something that I missed, so we're about to find out. Banshee heading in, going to see what kind of damage it could do. Gonna get close. There is, as we said already, that missile turret build. Steaming in, the Marines already doing huge amounts of damage. No cloak on the Banshee. Didn't cloak the Banshee at all. Did he cancel it? Yes, he cancelled the cloak. Didn't cloak. I guess he cancelled it to lift up and put the tech lab on a factory. Very unfortunate there. So we have the cloak the Banshee. Hellions taking huge amounts of damage from the bunker of the Marines. As we said, nice wall of stopping the Hellions, trapping them a bit, letting them take that little extra damage. So really nice play here by Ceon, keeping himself in a really nice position. That Banshee basically worthless at the moment. It could be used for like a second or worth of scouting, and is not going to do too much, unfortunately. Hellions also having to retreat, so this is a lot of map. This is now basically map control for Drumz. This is all he has. He is, though, in a good defensive position, already has his bunker, already has a siege tank protecting his bunker, and is beginning his third base. Once again, he's starting to be ahead in economy, making sure he's ahead in expansions, but he hasn't been able to do any damage to his opponent, letting his opponent do what he wants. And Ceon is now going to attempt to catch up using his double drop. This game is looking very similar to last time. I think the Banshee may have seen that drop. I'm not sure, though, about the areas of sight. I might have missed it, so this is going to be very close. We don't see any drop defense coming down for Drumz at the moment. He is, however, building 2 Banshees and 2 Widow Mines. So it's all a question of, did he see it, or is this pure luck, and where are those Widow Mines going to go? Is going to be very close and very interesting. 3 more missile turrets coming up for Ceon. I think he was expecting more Banshees at this point. And he's unloading his drops and is just loading them. Oh no, it's the second drop. First drop is already heading in right now. It's heading into the dead area in between the third base and the main base. It's going to get ready. It might just be reloading its boost here before it decides to go in by itself. There's no drop defense. I'm not sure where the Widow Mines have gone for Drumz here, but they're not in a defensive position at all. At the same time, though, Ceon using his small attack at the front in order to be a distraction while he drops into the bay. There is a siege tank in the bay doing some serious damage right now, but here we go. Drumz moving into a defensive position to try and defend his third base, but he's now pulling back to defend the main base where the armory is going down. Ceon will now be using this opportunity to try and push to the third base. Drumz is supply blocked. Ceon needs to be careful, though. There's Widow Mines and tanks, and this is going to be huge amounts of damage. Down goes that army. That one tank is able to do the damage and easily be able to kill off the second tank. Not enough for Reed here to be able to kill off that medevac drop for Ceon, so he is going to be able to get out of there, and it's actually going to go into the third base. He's going to be able to drop behind these units right now, and he's going to be able to do some economic damage. Here come the Hellions. He's going to be able to kill those off quite easily, but only after taking a bit of damage himself, but nothing that the Hellions cannot handle. And if Ceon wanted, he could pick up again here and just go and drop on those tanks, which I think is what he might be doing. Those Vikings need to get in there and prevent that from happening, and there we go. That's what they're doing. Gonna be able to chase these medevacs out, and there we go, dropping on the tanks. Perfect play here, unleashing the tanks. Needs to focus them down. Down they go. He could actually go into the one that's not being attacked and get away, but no, decided not to. Just gonna micro out of there himself. The units of Drumz are nowhere near fast enough to keep up with those Marines. so he's going to be able to get out of there. If these SCVs keep chasing, they're all going to die right now. This is a very risky chase here from Drumz. If Ceon was to turn around, there we go, he just stims. He's going to be able to kill all of these off. I think the stim's going to be allowing to keep him up and do huge amounts of damage. That was not a good play there by Drumz at all, leaving his SCVs to die, basically, sending them on a fruitless mission. But in the meantime, Drumz is doing a very sneaky strategy. He's thrown a hidden expansion down in the bottom right-hand corner while we weren't looking. It's almost complete, so if he can keep this alive, it could be his ticket back into the game as long as he can prevent Ceon from throwing down a 4th base himself. And Drumz was able to keep his own 3rd base alive. He did lose a lot of SCVs, though. He actually lost 38 SCVs this entire game. That is a lot of SCV damage by Ceon. Very nice play. And because of that, Ceon has given himself a 50 supply advantage, which is very nice. And Ceon's in a good position. He's going to try and push it before the tank siege up. Hellbats once again also in a bad position. Tanks of Ceon remaining unsieged. He's just going to move in unsieged. Tanks to easily take out the tank line of Drumz. Only 1 tank left. That one dies. Nothing to defend it. And Ceon crushes through that army. There's the GG. And Ceon takes the 2nd game and moves on to the next round.